I am not a fucking robot. What's up, YouTube? My name's Immortal Coil, and today we're going to be talking about androids in cinema. Now, this is what bothers me, is that a lot of people confuse robots with androids. Okay? Robots are automatons that have no mind. They do what they're programmed to do, and they have no means to really report back except as telemetry, as data. Ironic. Androids, on the other hand, are synthetic people. And we see that in examples like Star Trek and Aliens and Blade Runner. You know, they're as close to humans as they can get, but typically in science fiction, they struggle with truly understanding humanity. So therein we get to explore ourselves through their worldview. In Aliens, Bishop made a strong impression on me because initially when you watch it, you don't realize he's an android until he does the knife game.
Hey, Bishop, man, do the thing with the knife.
Please.
Come on, yeah. Do it, man. This is great. All right, yeah. Check this out. I don't want to see that, man. Come on, man. All right.
Hey, what are you doing, man? Hey, what are you doing?
Don't
Come on,
move.
quit messing
I'll just
around,
shut
Dre.
up.
Come on. Bishop, hey, man.
Do it, Bishop.
Hey, not me, man.
Yeah, you.
Hey, come on, quit messing around.
Don't
Come
move.
on.
Trust me.
I first saw Aliens when, geez, I probably had to be less than 10 years old. First of all, it's James Cameron, you know, and this is like him at the peak of his power. I don't really think he ever lost the peak of his power, but you can tell like he struggled with the properties that he invented, and that's not his fault. That's the fault of money grubbing pieces of shit in Hollywood who won't just let him continue to make them dump trucks full of money, Titanics full of money. In the knife scene, my favorite thing was that oh shit look on Bill Paxton's face. May God rest his soul. And then the other interesting thing is how Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, was antagonistic towards that character because of what happened in the last movie. She's like, no, fuck you. And like, just when he's proved his worth, he gets ripped in half and chucked across the fucking floor. Yeah. The other android I want to talk about is Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. And it's funny because like at first he was supposed to be like our I wish he was Spock. But he ended up bringing a different dimension to that type of a role in Star Trek. Firstly, because Picard was a lot more cerebral, so he didn't have to rely as much on the input of, you know, a Spock-like figure, which would have been Data, and a fired-up Doctor, which they tried to make Pulaski into. Data ended up becoming a vehicle to explore so many issues. And I can't cover them all, but here are some of my favorite. In the episode Measure of a Man, we get to look into the implications of, basically slavery. Okay, and this is the first time I remember seeing Guinan. I might be wrong, but the way that they introduced her character and obviously the acting and the writing and all that good stuff really put through the point okay? Because they're taking data and they're saying he's not a person, he's property of Starfleet. And then they take a black actor and have her say, is this like, imagine like a zillion datas, and they're all disposable people. And like my hair is raising up on my arm right now. That's fucking crazy. My second favorite data moment is where Q loses his powers. He gets his ass fucking kicked out of the continuum, and rather than be a Tarkasian flea or whatever the fuck he said, he decided to be a human and go to the Enterprise. And it's funny because the implication was, you know, out of all the people in the universe, Jean-Luc, you're the one I consider closest to a friend. But he really did it because he knew that there were angry entities in the universe that once they found out that he was mortal, they would X his ass. And Data ends up being his, well, I don't want to say a chaperone, but basically, yeah. And risks his ass to save Q's life. And Q doesn't understand the concept of self-sacrifice. So when he inevitably gets his powers back, he gives Data a gift. And for a second, Data's like, if you want to make me human. And Q's like, no, I would never curse you with that fucking fate. But I can do this for you. And he makes Data laugh. Q grew up a little bit that day. My least favorite android is this android. Just kidding. I actually use an Android to do all of this. So if you're watching this and you can...
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Then we have to thank Motorola and the geeks who reverse engineered the UFO technology that made this shit possible. And that's part of what I like about Star Trek, is that the things that we thought were impossible and futuristic and out of our grasp are now like in the palm of our hands. I'm Immortal Coil. Hit like, ring the bell, leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see covered on future episodes of Savage Spirituality. And remember, even though they may look human, there are robots among us. They come from Russia.